Welcome to the first session of Mental Health Support for South Meridian Church of God, and I'm Sharon Binkard. One question that has been studied for years is, why is it that under the same circumstances, some people are able to persevere and stay well and find meaning in their daily lives, while others in the same situation, same circumstances, same level of stress, really struggle and are often become unraveled and sometimes actually lose their minds in it. They're living through the same set of circumstances but responding very differently. An important part of that answer is that what we believe about what we are going through is often far more important than the events themselves. So let me say that again. An important part of the answer of why people respond so differently is that often what we believe about what we're going through is far more important than the events themselves. A few years ago, a book called The Heart and Soul of Change came out that presented a large number of studies on kind of a similar question, but having to do with therapy. Why is it that some people really benefit from counseling and from therapy while others don't really much at all? So in these large number of studies, they found some common denominators. And I think at some level, even the researchers were surprised that one of the biggest common denominators for people doing well was not actually the specific technique or theoretical approach of the therapist. It was not, again, specific tools or even the expertise or skill level of the therapist. But what they found as a really important factor in doing well and getting benefit was the presence of hope on the part of the therapist, hope on the part of the client that change was possible. The very presence of hope gives rise to goodness and change and newness of life. So what does it mean if we take some of this knowledge and apply it to where we are now? What does it mean for you to really hope in this time? And what is it that you hope for? Or perhaps more importantly, who do you hope in? As Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15, if it is only for this life that we have hope, we are of all people most to be pitied. So here are two questions to consider. As beginning to know yourself and to know what your beliefs are and where your hope is, the first question is, what do you actually believe about this time that you find yourself in? And sometimes we think we know the answer, and sometimes we know the right answer, but we don't actually know what to deep in our hearts until we take time to pause and consider. So to spend a few minutes really considering and writing, what is it that you actually believe about this time that you're in? Do you primarily focus on it as a time to be feared, or a time to rage, or a time to just be annoyed and frustrated? Or do you find it to be a time where you're hoping there will be gifts and things to learn and newness? And often we're a mix, not just one or the other. But it's helpful to really know and write it down and look at it. The second question is, what is your ultimate source of hope? What are you ultimately hoping in during this time? Are you hoping that an end will come soon? Are you hoping that your bank account will hold out? Are you hoping that your internet connection will stay stable? Are you hoping in Disney Plus? All of these things, again, not necessarily right or wrong. It's just a way to know yourself, to know where your hope is being placed, and to become more aware of it. Because one of the really important factors in mental health is you cannot change what you're not aware of. So take a few minutes, and in our next session, we'll go more deeply into the nature of hope. But take a few minutes to consider, what is it you actually believe about this time? And what is your ultimate source of hope?